Poker isn't just a game of cards, it's a battle of strategy, decision, and discipline. Every hand brings a different story. Every player brings a unique style to the table. Welcome to Brisbane Poker Club. I'm your host Aman Poonia, and together we will explore the game of poker, the highs, the lows, and the pursuit of mastery. In each episode, I will sit down with a different player to unpack their journey, their decision, their mindset, and the lesson that goes far beyond the game. Today's guest is someone I'm really excited about. His name is Saurabh Gulati, and he's a Mauritius-based semi-pro who has recently won SBT Grand West main event in South Africa. We're going to discuss his breakthrough win and how he balances his life outside poker. Before we get started, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel so that you never miss an episode. Let's get into the conversation.
Think dentist? Think Dentiglow.
Saurabh, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So it's such a coincidence that we met each other. For the audience, I want to tell I'm currently playing in the APT Millions in Gold Coast, and the table gets breakdown, and some new players come and join my table. The guy who sits on my right, he says something in Hindi to me, "Hello Paji," which means "Hello brother." And I look on my right and I see Saurabh, and then we start having a conversation.
Yes.
Obviously, he was speaking Hindi. I could make out he's of Indian ethnicity, and we were having a chat. And I got so interested in his story that I wanted him to come to the podcast and share his journey with me and with the rest of the world.
Thank you.
So, Saurabh, why don't you tell us about yourself, where you grew up, and what led you into poker, and then we will take the conversation further from there.
I was born in India, New Delhi. At the age of 19, after completing my graduation, I realized that I was pretty good at numbers. So after completing my graduation from Delhi University, I wanted to pursue masters. Masters in accounting is what I wanted to go for. I applied for a couple of universities in Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. Back then, I didn't know where exactly to head out to. Thought I should go for all the universities that come in my view. Went for the Macquarie University, got admission there. After applying for it, after paying for the fees, just took a flight to Sydney. Did my masters from there. Took about 2.5 years.
Which year was it, Saurabh?
2014.
So in 2014, you went to Macquarie Uni in Sydney.
Yeah.
And you studied your master's degree in accounting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Completed my master's. During that time, I used to feel a lot more nervousness while I was sitting in the exams. Even today, when I was coming for this podcast, because it was out of my comfort zone, I haven't done this before. I was feeling very nervous, very anxious as to what to say, what not to, or things could go very wrong, you never know. So the examination things, it always brings out a lot of nervousness in me. While I used to give these exams, my hands used to start getting sweaty. My legs my feet were all sweaty and everything. So I used to go to a psychologist, ask them about why is that happening, and then they used to prepare me mentally, like you can only prepare for the exam and you cannot have a control over the outcome of it. So yeah, that's what I did, and I got very good marks in those exams. But after doing that and getting into the accountancy, I did CPA extension. So gave the certified professional accountancy exams as well, cleared those intermediate exams. Getting onto the final side of it, turns out I cannot sit in front of the laptop for hours and hours and listen to the boss talking about numbers. Mm-hmm. I realized I cannot do a 9-to-5 job, so I took a part-time job alongside. started working in an Indian restaurant in Ipswich, long story short, I moved from Sydney after the graduation.
So which year you finished your degree?
2017.
So 2017 you finished your degrry,
Yeah.
and then you moved to Ipswich, which is in Brisbane.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, I used to work there. I took a part-time job as well. Yeah, I was just doing a waiter job. But then I was also socializing with a lot of Australians alongside, and turns out they used to like my company when I used to have a chat with them, when I used to serve them. Lately, I realized that I can have a good conversation with people, and I can have a good interaction with them. It just helped me push myself to become a better host for people. So I used to take care of the entire table. Turns out from one table, I'm getting more tables to take care of. People are giving me more tips, so I'm making more money. And I'm like, if I can give happiness and I can host people like that, why do I have to sit in front of a laptop and be antisocial? That is where I got into a group of people where people were just playing and drinking with some chips, and I'm like, I'm interested. If it's all about maths and everything, I'm good with it. I can maybe try to understand what these numbers are and why are these guys better than other guys. That's how I got started with.
So let me get it straight. So you did your master's in accounting.
Yeah.
You did some CPA studies alongside.
Yeah.
You moved to Brisbane, started working in accounting, took a part-time job in a restaurant as a waiter.
Yeah.
From there, you made a bunch of friends who were playing pub poker.
Yeah.
And then you got intrigued about the poker game as such.
Yeah.
And because you said you were social, you wanted to be a part of the group, and that's how you entered into the poker world.
Yeah.
That's quite a journey.
Yeah, I think he has got a plan for everyone. I never knew that. Coming from India, getting onto this waitering job, how will I ever maneuver around and get into this journey of poker?
So which year was it? When did you start playing poker, or you were introduced to pub poker?
I think it was because between this waitering job and this poker time, it was almost 2 years. Because I started waitering in about 2017, 2018. That is the time I met some people here and there, and then while I was invited into a pub because it used to be a $25 entry fee, starts at 9, registration closes at 10:30, 11. The game used to get over by 1, $1,000 guarantee. So you get in, you go in for a beer, you play some cards. And luck, if luck used to favor you, you used to make it to the final table, and that used to be a moment of pride for me, you know, when you make it to the final table.
So tell me about your first poker game, the very first poker game which you played.
Yeah.
Because I have a very distinct memory about that as well, which I would like to share with you.
Yeah.
But tell me about your first experience.
The first experience was in a pub when I was invited to, I think I used to live in Hamilton at that time now. I just got down from Hamilton, walked to a nearby pub which said that it was a poker night that night. It was Thursday or something. I had a beer in my hand and I $25 to spare. So I just entered into that tournament. Turns out I made it to the final table. Don't know how I did that. I just saw at 2 similar looking cards, either if it was connected, it was of the same suit, even if it was 5-7 of diamonds, I was playing that. And if I'm hitting 2 pairs on the flop, that's
Did you know the hand rankings at that time or not?
Not really. I used to put my phone on the side just to keep an eye what are the rankings of these hands. And if I used to hit 2 pairs or even the top pair on the flop, I'm like, okay, way to go. Let's go ahead. And if he's betting, I'm 3-betting him. You know, I'm just re-raising him every single time. And the aggression, while you're drinking, the aggression also comes into play. Yeah. So people did not know I'm an amateur then. But also a lot of people were amateurs and they were just playing for fun. So it was a good time.
So what was the result? Did you have the beginner's luck with you? Did you win?
No, I didn't win. I made it to the final table, but that was enough. That was just like the blood to the line, you know? Yeah.
I remember because I was in Sydney as well. I did my undergrad from UTS.
Yeah.
And we used to have this pub called Jade Pub.
Yeah.
So they started Jade Poker, which was right opposite to Paris Market.
Yeah.
And I still remember the very first time I went there to play my first game. and I had no idea what I'm doing. I hardly knew the hand rankings, and I specifically remember one instance when I had a decision to make, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do, because I think I had the top pair, and there was a flush draw or something, and I was opposite this one particular guy who's a tall, big, chubby guy, and a bit mean, if I can say.
Bully.
He was a bully, and he sort of called the clock on me.
Yeah.
Obviously, I didn't know what clock is, or he was like, make the decision,
Yeah.
go forward, do whatever.
Yeah.
And I actually ended up calling him, and he had a good hand, but my hand,
Was better. Yeah.
And I actually cashed in my very first game, so that
Wow,
was a
nice.
hook on me.
Yeah.
And I played fair bit poker during my uni days. Of course, then I stopped for a long, long time, and I recently started again. But anyway, coming back to you, so you started in poker.
Yeah.
Then did you started playing any big tournaments, any big buy-in games while you were in Brisbane? Tell me about when you got married, because you moved from Australia to Mauritius, and that's where you actually started your professional journey.
Yeah.
So can you transition into, if you were playing, when did you start playing into big games about, your personal life, like, getting married, moving to Mauritius? What was that about? How did you move there? And then you became a name eventually in the African poker scene. So can we transition into that?
Long story short would be, one fine night I was invited to a friend's place. I had a friend who asked me to come over for a house party. Turns out it's only him and his girlfriend, and there was a third wheel who turns out to be my partner today, Yutika. So yeah, I was invited there. I went there. We had a very nice chat with my partner. Turns out she is Mauritian.
The stranger who became your partner.
Yeah. So she's Mauritian, and I met her. Things went very well from the first night itself. There was a cat there. Before that night, I never knew that I was a cat person. I always thought I was a dog person. But there was a kitten there. So I was pampering that kitten. I was just giving some love to her, and she turns out has got 7 cats and 6 dogs in Mauritius.
Wow.
Yeah. So
and that was in Sydney or in Brisbane?
Brisbane.
Brisbane, okay.
So when that happened, she thought that the cat was getting along and everything, and turns out cats have got their own way of finding the person that they like. So
with a nice heart and true love.
I guess. So that is where the connection happened, and within 6 months, I think I proposed her.
Okay.
She said yes. Within 1 year, I think we got married. I was still in Brisbane when our roca happened.
Yeah.
Our roca happened while she was in Mauritius. My mum, dad, they flew from India all the way to Mauritius.
For the audience, roca is an Indian term in which you do a ceremony where you give some gifts to the bride and the groom, and then basically it's saying that you belong to me, I belong to you, like a ring ceremony, but one step before ring ceremony. It's called roca. Yeah. It's an Indian tradition.
So yeah, that happened.
So which year was that?
Not sure. It has been long. I think could be 2019 or 18, I guess. 19 maybe.
Okay, so same time when you started the poker, around the same time.
Yeah.
You started getting into the poker scene and you got married.
Yeah.
Okay. And were you playing big tournaments or big ticket, big buying games at that time?
No.
Okay.
I think the confidence in me just came in within last 1 year, I believe.
Okay.
Before that, I didn't have any confidence going outside the pub itself. I haven't played anything bigger than that. Haven't played anything online before that.
Okay.
Was just playing for fun. $25, $35 entries, maximum $50 entries.
So basically, you're playing like an amateur for fun. You're going have a few beers, have a good time, and why not try your luck?
And still learning the hand rankings, because sometimes you don't see the flash on the river, and turns out your 2 pairs are not good enough. Yeah.
So when did you move to Mauritius? Like which year did you move to Mauritius?
I think last year itself.
So it's last year itself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my understanding is that since you went to Mauritius, then you became more active.
Yeah.
and then is that when you took like the time off work? So tell me that journey, like, how did, because I believe you're semi-pro right now.
Yeah.
So you travel, you have been to South Africa multiple times.
Yeah.
You have won that big event in South Africa.
Yeah.
Then you've been to Malaysia and some other countries where you're playing big games. You're
Yeah.
right now playing in the APL Millions.
Yeah.
I think you've cashed in 1 or 2 games right
2,
now.
yeah.
So tell me about that transition from an amateur play to a semi-pro, and if you can walk me through what is a typical day looks like, in your life
Yeah.
as a semi-pro.
Yeah. So just to tell my audience, I've got 2 kids in the last 2 years. They're very young, one after the other. So just for their to raise them as per our culture, it was becoming very hard for me and my partner to be able to afford everything and still buy a house. So for the moment, we just thought that it's better off that we move to Mauritius for a couple of months, or maybe it could be a couple more months, I don't know. We are just in that transition period. I used to have Domino's in Sydney. I owned Domino's franchisee there for a couple of years between this time, and I used to socialize. So from the waiter job, I moved to, I did EBS, which is European Bartending School. I did a full 3-month course. I got very good at it. I got my licenses for it. I used to serve alcohol in Sydney as well. Where I realized that I can actually have good conversations. If I want to have good conversation, I can bring people and I can bring smile to their faces. While I was doing this, I could gather enough confidence to be able to have longer conversations.
Essentially, basically, but you didn't have kids at that time, or you had kids when you were in Sydney?
No. I didn't have, I just got kids, 2 kids, one after the other in the last 2 years.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. So basically, your wife got pregnant and you thought you want to raise a family, it will be easier to be close to family.
To my in-laws.
To
yeah.
in-laws, so
yeah.
they can help and assist you, which I can totally understand. So you decided to make a big shift and move to Mauritius.
Yeah, I mean, it's a temporary move. We are of course going to come back to our country, which is Australia, but for the moment, it's.
I might say you are like a global citizen. Born in India, studied in Australia, now you're a citizen of Australia. Now you're living in Mauritius, traveling all across the world. I think you could be defined as a global citizen at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, I'm blessed to be. I've always manifested in things, and God has blessed me with everything that I've always looked up to.
So tell me about like the main key part, which I'm really interested in your journey. You moved to Mauritius. You have a young family, and I can imagine there's so many pressures, young kids looking after, late night, baby crying and whatnot. So what made you go into poker as a professional thing? And what were you playing? Are you playing cash games? Are you playing tournaments? Like, what's a poker scene in Mauritius? Tell me, walk me through that. So
journey. In Mauritius, it's a very small population. The total population, what Google says, is 1.2 million, which is very less population. The poker community in general is very, very small. Everyone knows everyone out there. Because of my schedule, and I've also got some insomnia issues, which is I cannot sleep before 3 or 4 a.m. I usually wake up late. So after all of this happened, I realized that if I'm not sleeping at night, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to how can I make some extra bucks out there? So while I used to go to pub after and have some drinks with my mates, I used to enjoy these poker games. Make money or doesn't make money, it wasn't of any value to me. The value that I was getting was, am I having fun? And I was having a lot of fun in those pubs.
So it was like a pub poker there.
Yeah.
It was similar, like how NPL, APL. Like
not in Mauritius. Not in Mauritius. Okay. When I went to Mauritius, turns out there's only cash games, and there's one big series that happens 3 to 4 times a year, which is called the African Series of Poker, ASOP. That only happens in Madagascar or Mauritius.
Okay.
So I ended up playing ASOP. Usually I used to play only cash games, but then turns out there's also ASOP that happens in Mauritius or Madagascar. So one time I just entered into ASOP as well, and I cashed 2 events out of the 7 or 8 events that were out there.
Okay.
So that gave me a bit of confidence. That was my first official global event that I attended. And
that was in Mauritius?
Yes.
Okay, so let me get it straight. So you decided to be close to your family because you were expecting kids. So you moved back to Mauritius. Now, were you working at that time, or like when you went to Mauritius, or you took a break from work?
Yeah, no, I was working.
So you're working remotely in Australia, or how was
Domino's?
Back in Sydney?
Yeah.
So you're managing it remotely?
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
So you're managing Domino's, which is in Sydney, and you're living in Mauritius.
Yeah.
Now you got to know there's some cash poker scene in Mauritius, and there are some tournaments which happens once a quarter, and like 6-7 series in a year in Madagascar or in Mauritius.
Yeah.
So you played that, and you cash in a couple of them.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me. So then, what about the cash games? Are you playing cash games on a daily basis? Like I'm interested. What is your typical day when you in Mauritius? What does that look like? What were you doing? And how would you define semi-pro? Because according to me, semi-pro is a person who is not 100% dependent on financially on poker, but again, they're playing it professionally, they're traveling, they're playing big tournaments, they're doing big buy-ins, and they're, spending considerable amount of time into it.
Yeah.
So amateur is just playing for fun, which is poker type of style or any leagues. Semi-pro would be, as I mentioned, and professional is like who's 100% dependent upon making money for their living and for their family using poker. So I believe you are not playing it professionally because
I am.
You are. So would you define yourself as a semi-pro or pro?
I define myself as semi-pro just for the reason I don't think I'm the best out there, and that is not what I should think anyway. I think I'm very down to earth. That is what I want to believe about myself, and that's just the humbleness that the cards give you over the time. I am fully dependent on poker at this point of time.
Okay, so poker in your mind or in, so right now, in the stage you're in, you want to rely or you're working on poker to make your main source of living.
That's what I'm doing at this point of time. My bread and butter comes through poker, yes.
Okay, fair enough. Then I think we can...
For last 6 months, it has been like that. And in last 6 months, I think I've taken more than 4 international...
Transitioning from semi-pro to pro.
Yeah. That's it.
I think that would be the same thing. Okay. So tell me about your typical day when you're living your pro life.
So in the last 6 months, I think December was the first time that I took an international tour, the first international tour, and that was to Cape Town. That was my first international poker tour, and turns out I've lost one after the other. All the events, I've taken 2 bullets on the main event, and this is the last flight that is going to go for the main event. I sit in front of the mirror. I talk to myself, will you be able to do this? I talk to myself, I shout at myself because I've put every single penny that is in my bankroll, and I'm going down and down, deeper and deeper. While I look at myself in the mirror, I tell myself, you have to get this done, no matter how, because if you have the fire, if you have the hunger, you are going to make it. I do that. I bow down in front of the sun. I go for the last flight and my last bullet, and it's a sun run from there. Like I just went so lucky. I've got ace queen versus other person's ace king. I've got queen 3 against other person's ace jack suited, and I'm taking everything down. And before I know, I'm on the final table, and I'm taking the first prize down as well.
Congratulations. I actually saw that
YouTube stream.
The YouTube stream of that because I was interested to see.
Yeah.
Let's actually talk about that because I see there were a few hands where I saw you pushing. There's one hand like, you had a king 10 suited of spades and you pushed in, I think, and you ran into ace queen or ace jack.
Yeah.
And then there are a couple of times when you pushed in and it was a draw. When you don't lose like ace 3 versus ace queen or something.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to remember those specific hands right now. But my question to you is that when you're making those big calls, were you going on your intuition, because in a couple of hands you were out of position
Yeah.
and someone has already raised and then you're re-raising and they're then calling you.
Yeah.
So what was your mindset? Like, can we talk about that? I know it's quite vague,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
on those spots, were you thinking intuitively you were calling them, or you were making those decisions based on
Okay.
maths
So let me just tell why I've chosen this journey altogether, and why while we are talking about these hands, why do I feel so confident about some particular hands is when we are playing poker, this is our poker community that we talk about, and we always see people talking about, oh, this guy is a donkey and he is a fish and he doesn't know what he's doing. He's amateur. I've got pocket aces. He has got Queen 5 suited, and he calls me with calls my 3-bet with this and that. You know, I do believe poker is a game of skill that is now globally recognized, that it is a game of skill. Even in India, we are coming to that place now that the big celebrities are promoting this game. But also there is that 20% luck that we talk about. I do believe that I am very spiritually connected to that 20%, and that is what I think I'm gonna master, and I'm almost there mastering that 20%. When you sit down on a table, what is your mindset? That really is very, very important. It's over and above the skills that you have or the other person has. Skills is something that you work on during your home, the content that you consume at your home. But when you're sitting into the table, how intimidating you are, what is your gut intuition talking to you about, all these things, they matter a lot. So when you get a hand, even if it's 4-5 suited, what do you feel about that hand? Are the 5 cards that are going to be put out on the board going to match that 4-5 suited or no? Is something that I feel I can talk to cards sometimes, and when you do, there is there's no stopping you.
See, what you're calling spiritually connected, I call it like sixth sense or gut feeling.
That's it.
Can we talk about this a bit more? Because I want to ask you, what exactly do you feel like, because I have my own experiences with that, and I'm trying to put it together in words, and it is very difficult what you feel. And the downside of that is that sometimes you want to feel those experiences as a visual thinking rather than actually feeling it. If you know what I mean. Because sometimes when I'm looking at, I just know, I get this vibe and this tingling in my body, in my stomach, and I know something is going to happen. And this is gonna work. But mathematically, position-wise,
doesn't make sense.
Statistically, it doesn't make sense. You shouldn't be doing it. But I know in my bones, it's going to work. And what I've learned from my experience is that I would say 2 out of 3 times I'm correct. And before I used to fold all those hands, but I come to the conclusion, if I'm being right 2 out of 3 times, then mathematically I'm ahead. But my second equation is that because you have those feelings, sometimes you visually want to think, okay, I'm getting that feeling. You know what I'm saying? So you want to go ahead and know, no, this is the vibe I'm getting. So you have to, there's a very subtle difference into that as well. And you don't want to cross the boundary and making a stupid call with not a stupid call, but with a marginally weaker hand, when you know the other person is making a move and you can put them on a right hand. So what is your take? How do you see that?
I do believe that we shouldn't be making calls as much as we could be making 3 bets or raising them. So instead of taking the pressure on ourselves, I like to put the pressure on you. So say for example, you've got ace king suited and I've got 5-6 suited. You've made a 3 bet. I would jam on a ace queen or a ace jack, and pretty much that is going to put you in a blender. You wouldn't be able to make those calls because you're not supposed to make those calls, because I could have kings, but you don't know that. You are thinking that your ace jack is beat already. We are talking pre-flop. But
so basically you're saying your strategy is that put the pressure back on the other person and pretty much put it like an all-in situation, or put like such a 3-bet, 4-bet that they had to make a decision rather than you making a decision.
But that also comes from the very time that you have exposed your hand to yourself. Once you have seen your hand, what do you feel about it? Do you think this is the winning hand? Is this the hand that I'm gonna make sure that no cards are going to be put out on the table? And if they are put out on the table, there will be
But
already
I'm talking about
the chips are in
situation
the middle.
when you know mathematically you are behind.
Yeah,
But it might be
doesn't
coming on
matter.
river, might be coming. But what do you feel? Like, I feel that the tingling sensation in my gut. Do you have any feeling like that? Like, what is that sixth sense radar for you? That's what I'm asking.
My sixth sense is that this is my hand. There is
Okay.
no winning. If
A vibe.
my chips are going in,
Yeah.
if you have the guts, you make the call.
Okay.
If you don't have the guts, don't make the call because the cards are not coming out. My chips will always be raising your chips. That's it.
Fair enough.
And I've done that on a lot of times, and I'm blessed. I'm lucky like that people either don't make the call, or if they do, I still win that hand anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go back to, so you go to South Africa.
Yeah.
You're in a last bullet. You
Yeah.
had this sun run in the main
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
And you come first.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest
Yeah.
biggest tournament you have won.
Yeah, and turns out it's the biggest one in the South African continent itself. That's the biggest turnout that they have seen, and it's in the history books now.
And I was reading online, apparently you are an upcoming player in the African poker scene.
Yeah.
Is poker really catching up in Africa? Like,
Oh yeah,
tell me about that.
Yep. Ever since that happened, the brand ambassadors from Shuffle Up Poker, the brand ambassadors from Sunbet Poker, they are very, very hospitable. They are inviting people from all over the world. We are getting crazy value out there. We get to live in a place that are 4 stars properties and above for a very reasonable price while we are playing these tournaments and grinding these tournaments. The community is so welcoming out there. Like, I think everyone should definitely come and play in South Africa.
So when we're talking about African poker scene, that's mainly you're talking about South Africa or in the other parts of Africa as well?
So majorly it happens only in Cape Town and Johannesburg.
Okay.
And that's the 2 places that I'm aware of that is getting globally recognized now.
Okay. So, so far, like, like in the last 2 years, I take it, you started your profession journey, and particularly in the last 1 year.
6 months to be precise.
6 months to be precise.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Because 6 months ago was my first international poker tour. So I believe
So
that that is where my journey has started. Before that, it was all fun and
fun.
Yeah, that's it.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
So far, tell me, like, what is that one moment or one hand or one story in the last 6 months, which is like, so, in your mind, and when you think about that, a smile comes to your face.
Yeah.
So tell me about one story or one hand or one
So,
moment like that.
To be honest, I don't think I've ever achieved anything as big as that main event, and that is something that made me Google worthy. You can put me on Google now. Now I'm Google recognized. So when that happened, and the article came on the Poker News, where big players like Alan Keating or Daniel Negreanu or Phil Hellmuth comes along, their articles are being published. My article was put out on the Poker News. That is when I wanted to put a Facebook post, and I was looking into captions. So one caption that really got connected to me was, "A pair of balls beats everything." So I love that, because I do believe that I've got big balls and a lot of guts. In order to play in long tournaments like these, and to grind like couple of days to make it to the final table, just like any series main event, you need to bluff sometimes. I mean, you have to, because there's no edge otherwise. We were talking about a particular hand. So this particular caption, "A pair of balls beats everything," was very connected to me. So one fun night, I was sitting in a cash game back in Mauritius, and I get a 7 deuce suited. But also it turns out that there is a new guy who is very well educated, coming from London. He has studied some financial. He comes from a financial background and everything. And I'm like, he's smart. So I was on the straddle. The blinds are 100, 200. I'm on the straddle for 400. He's on the button. He bets 1600, which is he re-raises me. He bets. So I re-raise him with a 7 deuce just for the fun. I had 7 deuce of diamonds. Turns out he just flats. Flop comes a ace high flop. So I check, he bets. I re-raise him. He flats. Turn comes a jack or something. I check, he bets. I re-raise him again. This time he folds, showing he is pocket kings or something. And I say this to the table, you know, a pair of balls beats everything. And everyone's like, show us a bluff, show us a bluff. I'm like, no, everyone's gonna get on tilt. They're like, no, just show us. I show them a 7 high. And that is something that, from that particular day, that guy is a fan now. Turns out he calls me every now and then. He's like, bro, I just want to learn more, because like that guts, you know,
Fair enough.
because it was a ace high flop anyway. But coming back to the point is that if you have the guts of doing it, you should do it, because even if he had the ace, his small kicker is never gonna call me there.
Fair enough. I think you had a situation, you had a play to make, and I think you read the.
I mean, I knew that he had
accordingly,
he had
and
a pair,
then,
but even if he had the ace, unless he has ace king or 2 pairs, he's not supposed to call there. So the caption goes right: if you have big balls, go for it.
So, leading from that story,
Yeah.
how would you describe your personal playing style? Are you one of the nerds, you know?
I'm a loose aggressive.
Or you're tight aggressive or loose aggressive?
A complete lag. Yeah, that's the game style I like, and that is the reason sometimes I don't. Most of the times I don't run deep in tournaments, but when I do, I take it to the final table. That's for sure.
Okay. So basically, you like to put pressure on the other people, rather them make a decision when you make a decision.
Yeah.
Do you have any particular strategies which you apply? Do you have any particular hands which you love?
Yeah.
You know, in poker,
Yeah.
everybody has a favorite hand.
Yeah.
I got done by a 4-7 recently against my aces. So
Yeah.
apparently 4-7 was his favorite hand, and he made a set on the turn.
Yeah.
But anyway, do you have a hand like that, which is your
I
favorite?
have. It's a queen 4.
Queen 4.
Yeah.
Why
So it
queen
turns
4?
out for me, every time there's a queen on the board, the 4 is coming on the turn.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
That's your experience. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen that. I've taken videos of it, and I've taken photos of it. I've got plenty of those.
So if the Queen 4 is there, don't play, because Saurabh is there.
I might have it.
It's like 10-2 is for Doyle Brunson, Queen 4 is for Saurabh.
Yeah. It happens to a lot of people. I've seen Daniel Negreanu talking about some things that are just funny and weird. You never know what is your favorite hand could be someone's worst hand, and someone's worst hand could be someone's.
I think it comes
favorite
from
hand.
like, if they had a good success with a particular hand, they consider it to be lucky.
Yeah.
And then they just, go with that. Like I have a few hands which I like to play with, not because they're lucky, but if it connects well, like for example, hands like 2-5 or 2-4 or
Suited.
3-5, makes sense, because if it's especially in an early position, if you do a min raise, flop comes,
No one's gonna
ace
put you on
something,
that. Yeah.
So no one's gonna, but other person can be calling you with the ace, and then you can represent an ace, or you can flop a straight.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, when it works beautifully.
Yeah.
So I'm actually in the learning process. I want to see which hands makes more sense. I don't like to go with suited connectors. No, sorry. Let me rephrase that. I don't like to go with connectors because then it's easy to read.
Yeah.
For example, I was playing this other hand the other day. I had a queen, and the flop came 9-10 jack. People can easily put in that sort of hand because I raised pre-flop and whatnot. I like to keep it close but not straight. So I'm coming up with my own, I guess, hands, but not based on luck, but based with my own sense of logic. How it can turn into a better play.
Yeah.
But coming back to you, because this is about you, not about me.
Yeah.
So you're saying you are loose aggressive. So you put pressure early on. You want to capture as many chips as you can, and then do you sort of slow down, or you keep the pressure all the time?
We were just having the discussion, I think 2 nights ago, about how deep am I running in this big bounty, 300 per KO in the APL. Turns out there were 237 players all up, made it to the top 41, 27 to be cashing in. And from there, I believe, from the 41th position itself, I don't think I've I've played many hands. The entire night, I think I've played only my position or my big blinds. On my big blinds, I'm just flatting or I'm raising. There is no calling. If someone has raised, I'm not calling. Either I'm re-raising or I'm folding. Because what am I basically doing out there? Just flatting, because on the flop I'll be behind if I don't have premiums. So the lag style has to change when you're coming to that bubble time or to the top cream itself. That is the time that I try to compose myself and I try to switch my entire playing style to a very tight aggressive.
Do you actually divide the Pokerman tournament into different stages? Because as you play,
Yeah.
like my experience has been, there's time when you need to go aggressive, try to collect. The blinds are low, then there's a different style of playing. When the blinds become higher, then again you become tight, then again you become loose, then again you have to become tight. But do you have a particular strategy which you put in place to go through that flow?
100%.
Or as it comes?
Yeah.
Is it something which you can define for the audience, or your mindset? At what level do you go tight?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the blinds are like 3,000, 6,000, 4,000, 8,000. Because there are a lot of people who are short stack, they're pushing in, and then you need to be on a premium hand so that you can win those all-ins. And then once you have, a particular stack, I'm not sure, like if you're looking for 50 big blinds, then you're going to become more conservative, or 100 big blinds. Like, is there a strategy there?
Yeah. So basically what happens is when you're starting from the very, very, very start of the tournament, the blinds are usually 100, and then it goes 100, 200, 200, 400, small blind and the big blind. When we are doing this, the starting stack could be 40,000, say for example. 40,000 is the starting stack, the small blind and the big blind is 100, 200. So we have to divide 40,000 by 200, which is 200 big blinds. For the start, it's deep stack. Right now we are playing deep stack tournament. What that means is that we can make some loose calls here and there with suited gappers, gappers, which is 5-7 suited, 6-8 suited. We can make all these 3-bet calls and everything in position, but getting into that mid stage, you have to tighten up your range because your big blinds, the big blind stack that you have is not as many. So say for example, you're entering into the tournament with a 40,000, but you are in the mid journey, you're late reg, you're doing a late reg to the tournament, and turns out the blinds are now 2,000, 4,000, and you've only got 10 big blinds now. Because the starting stack's 40,000 and you've late regged just before the closing of the late reg, and the starting stack's 40,000, you've got 2,000, 4,000 as your small bigs. So you've got 10 big blinds. You cannot do too much about it. You need to be either committed to the hand shove pre-flop.
Yeah.
There's no playability out there. So depending on the position, depending on the stage of the tournament, you have to play accordingly. I usually try and get into the tournament as early as I can because my loose aggressive style helps me gain more chips in the early stage, and then I tend to switch my game style altogether.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But actually, I want to actually document that process because when I'm playing it, I feel it, but it's hard for me to describe or put on paper. But I understand what you're saying. Okay. So tell me about how do you assess and manage risk at the table? And tell me about a time when you have taken a big risk that paid off.
Okay. Oh wow. There's a very nice. It's a cash game that I played once in Mauritius, I believe. I'm not gonna get deep into the hand, but the risk that I'm talking about is basically what is in the pot and what equity do you have against it. So say for example, and here also comes in the SPR, which is the stack to pot ratio. Say for example, I am very deep stack. I'm covering the other players by their stacks are like 30,000 and I've got 90,000 in my stack. The pot is already 15,000 or 20,000. He has got a 30,000 and I've got 90,000. So I can bully around these guys. So when we are talking about risk, I think I'm at very less risk as compared to the other person, because for him to take that is all his money, or maybe he has to put in all of his money to just get half of what is in there. But for me, I've got way more stack, and I can bully around. So risk is basically when I think I'm losing the whole context of it. We'll have to redo this one. I was getting into the hand, but then I forgot. All I'm talking about is.
It's okay, we can come back to that.
Yeah.
But let me ask you another question.
Yeah.
What are the common mistakes or misread you see people are making often at the table?
I think they are
And how can
either
they avoid
over
them?
bluffing
Okay.
or under bluffing. That is something that I've seen. I mean, they're not bluffing just at par. They have to.
So either they're playing net.
Yeah.
So they're playing net. So now they're not either under bluffing or over bluffing.
They are doing either under bluffing or they are doing over bluffing. So the professionals, they are doing under bluffing, and the amateurs, they are over bluffing. Is what I'm wanting to say. And you need to balance this out. You need to see in what position you can bluff and in what position you cannot bluff. I remember this from last night itself. I had pocket aces and I under bluffed. Being on the dealer button, the guy is short stack on the big blind and it's heads up because the small blind has already folded to my re-raise, which is the min raise. I've got pocket aces on the button. The small blind, the blinds are 600, 1200. Comes out to me. Everyone has folded on the table. I make a bet of 2400. Small blind folds. He has a short stack. He calls my 2400. Flop opens 457. Offsuit. I'm sweet. He checks. I bet 2800, which is nothing. Doesn't make sense. But he makes the call. Turn comes an 8. Off rainbow again. He checks. I make a very small bet of 1500, which is nothing again. He makes the call. He has got about 7000 behind him. River comes, jack. I don't think he has got anything. He checks. I push him all in. He snap calls. He has got king 6, making him a straight on the turn itself. So the problem is that because I wanted his stack, I should have. I was under bluffing. I should have put more into the but I.
So we can call undervalue.
Yeah.
So you're making value.
Yeah,
bets,
but turns out it went against me. I mean, he should have been out of that tournament right then and there. But he got the he found the value in there. He found the value with king 6 off, man. Yeah.
No, because I think you became too greedy. You wanted to get the whole stack. I see that happening often, and to be honest, I do that a lot. I like to trap people, and more than often I get trapped myself, particularly with the big hand, with aces and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the lessons which I've learned is that to get the maximum value, build the pot as much as you can at each stage.
Yeah.
Don't think about the next round or the next turn or the river. And I think that's a key difference between an amateur and a professional. They like to win pot then and there. Whatever is there, it's for taking, rather than trying to go for the future value, because more than often with the big hands you end up losing because other guys obviously in a draw or something and they make their hand and then you get out of the tournament altogether. I've done this mistake so many times. So that's one of my biggest learning and which I try to implement in my future games. Okay, so that was interesting. And in terms of the live game or online play, which one do you prefer? Do you have a preference?
Definitely prefer the live game because it's more socializing. You get to interact with people. You get to learn a lot more. I like the whole area where we get to do the gesture reading of the person. You see the hand postures and everything. You see their breathing techniques. All these things, they talk a lot about a person in general. How nervous are they? How confident are they? While he's facing a bet, if you have a chat with him, how does he change altogether? How does his personality change? How does his voice change? What is his posture? Is he nervous? Is he open up? Or
see, poker is about famous for having tells, reading tells on other people.
Yeah.
Can you share one or two tells which you look for?
Yeah.
When you're playing live.
Yeah.
What are those signs? What are you looking at? How do you know it's concrete or not?
Yeah.
Do you mind sharing one or
I
two
think
tells which you try
one
to
of
look
the
for?
basics is that everyone should know is, and it's fundamentally proven. This is what is gonna happen if you see your hand, and it is but obvious this is gonna happen. If you are a pro, you're gonna start working on it and start changing it. This is what I do, and this is what everyone does. Once you see your premiums, you expose your cards to yourself, and you see premium, the first thing is your eyes are going to go directly to your chips. If your eyes directly goes to your chips, that means you have a premium. And now, because we are doing the reverse, even if you have a shit hand, you start looking at your chips first. And that is what everyone's observing. And I think most of the people in our community knows about this, that as soon as you see a premium, you look at your chips, and everyone knows that you've got a premium. And you take a second before you make a open bet.
Any other secret sauce you can share with us? Any
Yeah.
say top 3 tell signs which you're looking at. Okay, chip, looking at the cards and the chip is one.
Yeah.
Can you share maybe another 2 tell signs which you're trying to look for?
I
in
believe
other plays?
people who are not confident, or they have bluffed a hand and they don't want the other person to be taking so much time and calling their bluff, they usually call time on that person. That is something that I've seen, that people, when they have put a bet out there and the other person is just trying to make a sense out of this particular hand, they just take a lot of time, and then the other person gets onto the tilt, and they want him to be under pressure. So they call clock, and when the clock happens, that is the essential 30 seconds that you need to make a decision. That is this guy actually wanting me to be under the pressure, or does he actually have the hand? However, these days the pros have started doing that, and it is just a reverse psychology altogether.
Any tell in the physical body which you look for?
I do. When I haven't played with, when I'm playing with the newbies, or I don't know how these guys they play, I usually go for the GTO. But when I'm not too sure, I take my time, and I usually go for check against these guys. And when their cards are exposed, now I start to put them into a particular style. Either this guy is a lag, or a tight aggressive, or whatever this style is. And then I realize if he's a semi-pro, pro, or an amateur. According to that, can he adjust his body gesture?
So you're basically putting a persona to a player and he's playing style.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, do you look for physical signs? I'll give you an example. Like personally, there's one particular thing I look for, the pulse on the neck.
Yeah.
When people are, they have good hands, their breathing becomes heavier and the pulse starts throbbing. I would say 60 to 70% time it shows they have a strong hand.
Yeah.
But I've seen sometimes when they have a semi-bluff or a marginal hand where they can potentially, make a bigger hand, they also display the same signs.
Yeah.
So you have to be very careful that you have to be careful about your read.
Yeah.
Do they have either a made hand or a semi-made hand, which they are hopeful they're gonna make it.
Yeah.
So that's one physical tell sign I look for.
Yeah.
There are a few other things I'm working on, but I wanted to learn from other professionals, like if they have any particular thing.
Something that this is just me, and that's my opinion, is that you need to be very standard when you look at your hand. I have a style where I put a chip on my cards, so that first of all I have to save my cards, that the mistakenly it doesn't go into the muck by the dealer itself. But there has to be a standard way of doing it. What I've realized is a lot of players, they are not doing that every single time. When they are connected to one particular hand, or married to a hand, like say for example ace queen suited, ace king suited, or king suited, they hold their hand, their cards in their hand. So I get to know that he is not letting go of these cards. But it was not standard in the last 2 rounds. it wasn't the same way. He was putting his cards on the side. Now that he has got a premium, he has got that. But also it could be a reverse. That is where you have put a
persona on the person.
that is where
Because
that comes in.
I was about to say, because I do that sometimes to do reverse, that I'm planning to fold, but I'm actually having a very strong hand.
Yeah.
And I'm indicating I'm willing to fold, but I'm not.
Yeah.
So I totally understand where you're coming from. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's transition into another area. Given that, you are born in India, and a lot of people, they consider poker as gambling.
Yeah.
And gambling has a big taboo in India. And we all have that cultural value system, you call it, or baggage, you call it, or depending upon how you look at it.
Yeah.
So when you start playing poker as a professional, what was your family reaction? Were they happy? Were they sad? Were they supportive? Were they cautious? Tell me about that.
Yeah, coming from an Indian background, I don't think any family would ever be acceptable of their kids to be letting them go and gamble their bankroll on cards. It's just the way that our culture is altogether. Initially, even today, I get those lessons and those teachings from my parents that are you on the right track? Are you sure that this is going to make enough bread and butter for yourself? Will you be able to grow with this? What if you lose all your money? What is the lifestyle that you're living? All these questions, they come every now and then. I think I listen to that every second month. But it's just a part of our culture, and we all have to accept that. Now that the new celebrities are coming and promoting, and the government has started recognizing that it is a game of skill. Yes, there is a part of it that involves luck, which makes the game altogether a lot more fun. It is the way it is. I think we have to just take it down.
So did you have to sit down with mom and dad and explain to them it's a game of skill
and
have a proper strategy put in place about playing and bankroll management and whatever?
Yeah. No, I think it was never, they never understood that before. The first time that I took the tour to Cape Town, and luckily I took that sun run to the trophy. My parents, they had some faith in me. They understood. But this is what my dad said to me, and I remember this very well. He came down to my country, and I gave him the trophy. I'm like, Pa, this is the first trophy of my life. How do you feel about this? And this is exactly what he said. He's like, I don't know if I should be ashamed or proud of this trophy. So, I mean, even today, I don't know what to feel about it, and neither does he. But like, all I told him was, look, even if I'm a professional, I'm either a professional poker player or a professional gambler. Either ways, I don't know how I should feel about this.
So, moving forward, has it affected your relationship, or your family is coming to terms with that?
My family is coming to terms with that. Looking at the other emerging professional poker players from India, people coming up and talking about their stories. There is Nishant Sharma, there is Zarwan Tumboli, there is all these guys who are playing on the circuit. Looking at them online, watching their streams and everything, I send them the reels, these guys talking about their family issues on these streams. I just take some small videos and I share it with my parents, and I'm 100% sure that everyone relates to it. And when everyone relates, it is for sure that we are all in this poker community, in this same culture, going through the same thing. So
because I think it's a big hurdle and challenge for our community, because like it's, as I said, it's a taboo. Poker is still considered as gambling. A lot of people don't consider it as a skill game, and a lot of people, they struggle, and you can't tell your other relatives and neighbors that, oh, my son is a professional poker player, and like, he does gambling for a living. And it's quite I would say challenging, and that's why I was interested to see how's your family reacting to it.
Yeah.
And But tell me about your personal family. Like, you have a young family.
Yeah.
You have a wife.
Yeah.
It's a very unique situation.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine, because I have got two sons, 12 and 13 years old.
Yeah.
And I still can't find enough time to go and play poker. I would love to.
Yeah.
I'm starting a poker club channel, YouTube, so
Yeah.
we can discuss
Yeah.
my bad beats, good beats, my
Yeah.
learning, my journey.
Yeah.
But I still can't see myself like playing all the time, going for big tournaments, within Australia, let alone overseas.
Yeah.
So how are you managing that process? How are you managing your relationship with your wife? How are you managing your young family, your young kids? How's that? Like, does that bring a lot of pressure or no? Or walk me through that.
I think in life altogether, you can handle all the pressures from the entire world. You can handle everything is here. You can handle the entire pressure altogether. But when the pressure is from the inside of the family, that is where the person gets broken down altogether. I am blessed with a beautiful partner who has been supportive throughout. She did not marry a professional poker player or a semi-professional poker player. She married a guy who was in hospitality and an accountancy guy. When she saw this transition of me, and the transition is just happening as we are going through the journey. As I'm walking down this lane, it turns out that I have to spend some time with my kids during the day when I have to pick them up from the school, I have to drop them off. A 9 to 5 job wasn't just enough for myself, for my mental health. So when they are asleep, daddy has gone to work. That is what my son tells to his friends, that my father, he's a professional poker player. And to be honest, even though my dad wouldn't be proud of it, I am very proud of it, because like when my son tells it to their friends, their parents, they are coming up to me and wanting to learn from me how to play this game altogether. Talking about how to play these hands. Can we just meet in a social club just to understand how these hands work and what are the rankings and everything? And I'm more than happy to take them on this journey.
Now I can totally see, like, it's a new experience, a new way of living, and often it's the road less traveled, which can be challenging, and for other people to understand and understand what it is about and how does it apply in a particular situation.
I think the biggest thing that I'm going through right now is the risk factor of your bankroll, because I've got two very young kids. It gets when I'm putting so much money into cash games, trying to make it bigger. Sometimes when you put, say for example, 170,000 onto the table in Mauritian rupees, which is give or take 6,000, 7,000 Australian dollars onto the table, you sometimes contemplate, bro, like that's my son's 6 months fees, education fees.
Like that was my actually next question. The bankroll management it's very essential.
Yeah.
And especially for the longevity of your game and ability for you to play. So do you have any specific metrics which you have put in place that you'll be following, or like what is your strategy about bankroll management? Be it cash games, be it like tournament buy-ins and so forth.
Yeah.
And given that, like, because you're playing as a pro, your livelihood is dependent upon that.
Yeah.
And that's where we see a lot of players, they crash and they burn and they leave the industry and then come back again, and then same cycle repeats over and over again.
Yeah.
As we know, bankroll management is one of the main pillars of a poker player.
Yeah.
Part of the journey. So do you have put any specific milestones, strategies, or systems in place for that?
I do believe that I'm still new to the whole game altogether. But yeah, I've learned a lot, and I'm still learning a lot. Bankroll is something that you build over time. Once you have built that bankroll, you have to understand how to diversify that bankroll into different games. What is your strength and what is your weakness? Just like this podcast, I've learned a lot from these professional poker players talking about how to diversify this and what games to sit in and what games not to sit in. So pub games, yes. But professional games, no, for the amateurs. Just because you're gonna be good at those pub games because no one actually really cares there. But when you're sitting into these professional games, you never know, your luck might never kick in and you're gonna be out within no time. So what I'm saying is, when it comes to your bankroll, you say, for example, you've got only $10,000 to spare as your total. I think you should never be playing $1,000 game altogether. You should always be playing $100 to a $300 game, diversifying that money, putting that money into a lot more games, and taking that small amounts and learning over a longer period of time, as compared to putting big chunk of it into one tournament or putting a big chunk of it into cash game altogether.
Are you fine to actually dive in a little bit more into this area?
Yeah.
Because this is again very important, especially for a lot of listeners who wants to take this as a semi-pro or to take to the next level, where they're coming, from. Like, I want to discuss it a bit more further in detail. What I'm hearing is that you're saying spread your risk, don't focus on one particular game or a few games where you spend all of your bankroll. I hear that. But my question would be, do you plan, I'm using you as an example because you sort of transitioning into that life. Because see, in my mind, what it comes is that if you're relying on poker as your source of living, then you need to find out your fixed cost or fixed income which you need to manage your, say, monthly expenses. If you need to earn that, then you need to earn that. So let's say, for example, you need 5,000 for a month. Just taking a random example. So you need to earn 5,000 in 30 days. So based on that, let's say whatever your starting bankroll is, I don't know, let's say 50,000. Then you are playing tournaments, where the buy-in could be $250, $500. Total prize pool could be 10,000. And then, because poker is a difficult game, doesn't matter, how much skilled you are. At the end of the day, you have to come number one. That means you have to beat every other player in that game. All the 99% of the people, you need to beat them every single time for you to get the maximum amount of money. Or you need to come in the top 5 to make any decent amount of money, especially in tournaments. And statistically, it's quite difficult. If you win one of those big tournaments like World Series of Poker, main event, a life-changing event, that's a separate thing. And again, you need a bit of sun run skills and whatnot to achieve that. So for a person to live this life on a daily basis, what is your recommendation? Like how much a person should have in the bank, for the bankroll for playing games or cash games? A lot of people play cash games if they want to take poker as a living. I see it very difficult, to do it, via playing tournaments. Unless your lifestyle is very basic, very minimum. Even for that, it's very difficult because, as I said, you have to beat every other single player. It's a 99 percentile game. So what are your thoughts about that? Like how much money you should start with? Is someone thinking to go pro? Okay, I need 100,000, 50,000 in my bank. I should need to be buying in, say, my maximum cap is, say, $600, $500 for a tournament buy-in or for a cash game. What are your thoughts about that?
Okay, so when I got this big prize pool from the Cape Town main event, I didn't know what exactly needs to be done, and all this noise was coming along that you need to spend this on, you need to invest this in a property because the property will grow instead of putting this back into the bankroll for poker, this and that. And I did what seemed best to me. However, if today I was asked 6 months later, I would have taken a completely different journey. Lately, what I've realized is, and I would recommend this is my personal opinion, you need to find what games you're comfortable with, the buy-ins that you're comfortable with. Say, for example, someone is comfortable with playing comfortably with $25 buy-ins, and someone is a wealthy person, he is more comfortable playing those $1,000 buy-ins, which we are doing at this point of time in APO. What I've been told is that you should have 100 buy-ins in your bankroll, whatever you're comfortable.
Okay, the rule of thumb is, so basically 100 buy-ins, whichever game you're doing.
So say, for example, someone plays on a regular basis $500 buy-ins. This is the average buy-in that he usually goes for, somewhere between 250 to 700. So we can say, for example, it's a 450 to a $500 buy-in average that he
let's
goes
say
for.
500 buy-in. So 100x
Your
would
bankroll
be
should be
50,000.
100 times of it.
So 50,000.
Yeah,
in this
that
case.
should be your bankroll.
Okay.
And I do believe every 33% of your bankroll has been covered. You should be re-evaluating yourself. You should take a stop. You should slow down a little. Once that 33% of your bankroll has been finished, you need to sit down, re-evaluate what has gone wrong, go back through the hands, consume a lot more poker content.
I actually think, we don't have to wait for the 33%. I think that should be done after every game, because the only way to improve your game is to learn from the mistakes you have done. And if there's any improvement which a person can do, they should, straight away try the experience in the next game and see if that is working or not. And then keep on changing their default game until they come to a point where their game is as good as it can be. Yeah.
No, definitely, that is for sure. What you're saying is perfectly correct. What I'm saying is that the bankroll, sometimes if you're going through some people say that we are unlucky this time, that time, so you cannot really evaluate those things. I mean, you can, but what I'm saying is,
so if you're having a bad run and you have lost 1/3, then there's something seriously wrong.
Yeah, so you should maybe take a
break.
And do your homework, because what I do believe is poker is a mindset. It's all about your psychology. What do you think about it? If you're getting too overconfident onto the table, and you're losing 33% of your bankroll, you have already lost 33% of your bankroll, you should sit down, you should take some time off, at least a week minimum, and just go through the things and that also takes away all the devil eyes that were on you, and maybe just it's time for you to just sit back and just spiritually connect to whoever you think, and just be talking a lot more about the other things, because sometimes we are so addicted in playing the cards. Those adrenaline rush takes over the entire personality altogether, and you don't realize who you are anymore. So that break is very important. When you're going through the bad runs and everything, you should just stop it right there, take a week off, take a lot more things that are in the world, consume that, and then get into the game again with a new psychology, new mindset altogether. And that just helps me a lot. I've done that, and it has helped me a lot.
Do you have any mentors you take, or you have any coaches?
I am looking into it. There are 3 on my list. I'm not going to name them right now because they are very expensive. But I'm just not too sure if it's really necessary or no, because I do think mindset coaching is something that I'm very interested in, more than the skills, because skill is something that you can still work by yourself on. And there's so much content out there on YouTube and otherwise on the apps that people can just learn from. But mindset is something that only a coach can just integrate into you, make you feel confident that you have got this in you. Either it's the parents, the guru, or the coaches that comes along, and they just tap on your shoulder, and then they tell you, "Attaboy, you've got this." And once they've said that, you know that, yeah, I mean, someone has faith in me.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Is there a book or two would you recommend to anyone to read about poker if they want to learn the game?
I'm just recently coming through this book. I'm almost halfway through it. It's called Optimizing Ace King.
Okay.
It's a very nice book because Ace King is one of those hands. Everyone has gone through it.
I know.
And there is no perfect way of playing Ace King, suited or offsuit. Everyone tries to overplay that hand.
One of the top 4 hands, and always get you in trouble.
Yeah, always gets you into trouble, and sometimes takes your entire bankroll altogether.
Fair enough.
So we should never be overplaying that hand, and the book that particular book talks a lot about it.
Now, fair enough. Any last thoughts for our audience or anyone who's thinking to play poker, or amateur poker player who wants to become a semi-pro or pro? Any last words for them?
I would just say it's a very risky line. takes a lot of toll on your mindset. You need to be very mentally prepared and be very physically prepared as well. You need to have a very balanced lifestyle. It's not as easy and it's not as glamorous as it may seem. There's a lot of homework that we have to go through in order to sit in that classroom where all the exams are happening. It's a big jungle out there, and in order to conquer that jungle, your mindset needs to be of a lion.
Act like a king, have balls of steel.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, thanks for your time,
Thank
Saurabh.
you.
Lovely
Thank you. I
meeting
appreciate
you.
it. Thank you. Thank you.